Hello, today we are going to do section 19.1 in Springboard, and we're talking about basic exponential properties. Basically multiplying and dividing numbers or letters with exponents. So just to do a quick review, when we have a number written like this is exponential form, and the 3, the large number, is the base, the little guy in the corner is the exponent, and that just tells you that you are going to, like I said, this is exponential form. It means you're going to multiply 3 5 times. So this is expanded form, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. And then if you were to simplify it, it would be 243. So just to show you on a calculator how you would do that is if you put 3 to the 5th power, some kids when they first start off do 3 times 3 times 3, 5 times. But all you really have to do is put the 3 in. And then if you see this, I'm looking for it right now, this guy right here, that tells you that 3 is the base. We've just put that in, and the exponent is 5. So I'm going to press that button and then 5, because I want to raise 3 to the 5th power, and I get 243. Okay, so that was 3 raised to the 5th power. That gets me 243. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do this. And writing this chart is going to kind of explain it all. The original form, so if my original problem was 2 to the 4th power times 2 to the 4th power, what in expanded form, and we don't always do expanded form, but it kind of helps you at the beginning to see what's going on. This is saying 2 to the 4th power. So you're going to say that's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? That's the same thing as 2 to the 4th power times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, and that's another 2 to the 4th power. So if you look here at expanded form, it should be easy to see that, wait a second, that's the same thing as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 to the 8th power. Okay, and we're going to fill out this little shortcut in a minute. So 5 to the 3rd power, well, if you had to write it in expanded form, you would know that's 3 5s, 5 times 5 times 5. And then you have to multiply that by another 2 5s. And so that's going to get you 5 to the 5th power. Here, x to the 4th power. So you have 4 x's and then 3 x's. So now that's x to the 7th. And then with a's. So if you notice, in order to do this, the bases have to be the same. So I have to have 2's here. They have to be the same. I can't have 2 to the 3rd times 5 squared and be able to do this process. Okay? All right. So a to the 6th, a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then, okay, so that gets me a to the 11th. So if you stop now and you say, okay, really, do I have to write this all out? I can figure out how to go from here to here pretty quickly. I really do like to show this, not that I want you to write this all out, but I want you to be able to picture it in your head. It's just going to help you, because we're going to start learning a lot of these different things, and it does get a little bit easy to mix things up. So if you can just picture that in your head, you have 4 2's, now you have 8 of them. So what's the shortcut? I'm sure you figured it out by now. The shortcut is that you're just adding these exponents. Okay, you're just saying 4 plus 4, and then, can you even see this? Yeah, you're saying 4 plus 4, and that's going to get you to 8. So the shortcut is, let's say 2, 4 plus 4, and that gets you 2 to the 8th. Okay, so over here, you're saying the base is 5, and you're doing 3 plus 2, and that's getting you 5 to the 5th. Over here, you're saying x4 plus 3, and that is getting you x to the 7th. And then a6 plus 5, and that's getting you a to the 11th. Okay, so like I don't really expect you to do expanded form, but being able to picture in your head it makes it really easy. Okay, so sometimes, right, we started off with numbers, which we can totally understand. We get a little trickier with variables, sorry. And then you're like, okay, but I get it. And so here, what's going to happen? If we're raising m a to the mth power and a to the nth power. Well, what did we do before? We just added these exponents. So if we had to multiply this, we could just say that's the same thing as am plus n. Okay? Now, I don't think this is going to come up a ton. All right, here, a to the 5th times a to the 7th. You guys, I'm trying to have you guys beat me to it. And that's a to the 12th. And then over here, b squared times b to the 6th. So that I'm adding my exponents, that gets me b to the 8th. And then right here, c to the 3/4 times c to the 5/4. So don't let this complicate you that you all of a sudden have fraction exponents. Just think it's the same exact thing. I'm just adding them. So 5/4 plus 3/4. That gets me 8/4, which can be simplified. So I should put c squared. Okay, so that's kind of the trick for multiplying, is that you are just going to end up adding your exponents. Okay, when you multiply, you add exponents. All right, so let's talk about dividing. Okay, so notice, I know this looks a little mixed up here. I have a fraction. So super helpful to think about this in expanded form. And I have some students that they get it right every single time when they put it in expanded form. And if they don't put it in expanded form, they don't get it right. So I want to show you right here, you have 2 to the 5th. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Okay, that's all in the numerator spot, 2 to the 5th over 2 squared. All right, so what you're going to do here is you're going to just cancel stuff out, like cross canceling. Well, these 2's cancel out, these 2 cancels out, and what's left? Well, you have 2 cubed left. All right, we're going to fill out this shortcut column later on. All right, 5 to the 8th over 5 to the 6th. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now when I do that, I'm going to just cross cancel them out. Doom, 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 doom. And what am I left with? 5 squared. All right, I'm sure you get the hang of this now. A cubed over a squared, x to the 7th, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, over x cubed. Cross out, cross out, cross out, and you get x to the 4th. So let's take a look at the shortcut. Once again, I really have kids that will sit there, and if I ask you to go from here to here, or here to here, you get a little confused, but the minute you draw this out, it just kind of clears everything up. So I would not disregard this step. I do think it's super helpful, especially with division. It just kind of helps you picture everything. Okay, but what is the shortcut that we did? Because not all of you are going to need or want to do this. So you just subtracted, right? The top exponent minus the second exponent. So if we had to write this out in a shortcut, you would say that you minus 5 minus 2. And so you got 2 to the 3rd. Here, 8 minus 6. 8 minus 6, and you got 5 squared. A cubed, or 3 minus 1, sorry, a squared. X 7 minus 3, x to the 4th. Okay? All right. So, of course, those are some basic problems, and we're going to start getting a little trickier. Well, I'll show you that on the review. All right, here. So, same kind of thing. Let's just write out what we're doing. We have a to the m, and then what would we do if it's dividing? We're just going to subtract them. So that's just, going to be kind of your short answer there. Sorry. Okay, so over here, we have a to the 5th. Now, if you're that person that needs to draw them all out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then I'm going to start canceling them out. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, what do I have left? Now, this time it's a little interesting because my extras are on the bottom, which is totally fine. It just means I have a squared, but they're on the bottom. I can't just throw them on top because I don't know what to do with them. So I have a squared on the bottom. I also can't leave a blank space on top here. Oh my goodness, you guys can't even see that. So let me recap. I crossed out, crossed out, crossed out, crossed out, crossed out. I had a squared, but it was on the bottom. So I have to write it on the bottom, and I'm just going to put a 1 on top because I can't have nothing on top, okay? Now, we're going to get into this a little more later. If I did a subtraction problem, so I'd be okay with your answer being left like this. If you actually did a subtraction problem, you'd have a 5 minus 7, and that's going to get you a to the negative 2. Now, those are actually the same thing. We're going to explain that a little bit more later on. For right now, you can leave your answer like this or like this. I don't really mind either one. Okay, they both do mean the same thing, but we're going to go into negative exponents a little later on. All right, so let's just try here. B to the 8th, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 6. Okay, cross out, cross out, cross out, cross out, cross out, cross out, and look, I have 2 left over on the top. And if you did that, you would, if you didn't do the picture, you would say 8 minus 6, which gets you 2. All right, 7x is on the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 on the bottom. Cross out, cross out, cross out. Your answer is x to the 4th. And if you just did subtraction, you would say 7 minus 3 is 4. So I feel like sometimes all these little shortcuts, all these little shortcuts are kind of fun and easy, but in the long run, are you going to remember? In 2 or 3 months, if they ask this on the EOC, are you going to remember that when it says dividing, you're supposed to subtract? Some of you will, some of you won't, but if you draw this picture out, sometimes it just kind of snaps your memory. Okay, so we are going to do a review. I just have a few problems here that are a little more complicated because I always hate when, you know, the teacher gives me the easy problems and then I have homework and they're really complicated. So let's take a look here. Okay. So I have 4 times negative 2. Actually, let's just look at this for a second. 4xy to the 4th power. So what this means is I have 1 4, I have 1x, and I have 4 y's. Y times y times y times y. Here, negative 2, I have 2 x's and 5 y's. So I'm multiplying this whole thing together. Well, let's slow down because look, these are coefficients. It's a multiplying problem, so I just multiply them. I don't have to do a trick here. There's no shortcut. I just multiply them because it's a multiplying problem. So 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. All right, now I've dealt with those. I'm done with that. So let's take a look here. I have an x and I have 2 more x's. So in my mind, I'm saying, okay, I have an x and I have 2 x's. So when I combine those all together, now I have x cubed. All right. Y to the 4th and y to the 5th. When I put them all together, I have 4 y's, I have 5 y's. So now I have y to the 9th. Okay, and that is going to be your answer. All right, let's move down here to another multiplication one. So remember, this is just a multiplying problem. When I see these numbers, I have to multiply them. There's no exponents on there. You know how to multiply. Sometimes it's like we forget the basic stuff. 5 times 2 is 10. Now this, a to the 4th, that means I have 4 a's and I have 5 a's, and I'm putting them all together. So now I have a to the 9th. I have a b and I have 3 b's. I'm putting them all together. So I have b to the 4th. Okay. Oh, now this one looks a little gruesome with some fractions in there. Okay, so let's take a look. We have a negative 2 times 3. Well, we know negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. We're done with that. All right, let's look at our a's. We have a to the 5th and a to the 4th. That means I have 5 a's and 4 a's, and I put them all together, and I have a to the 9th. All right, let's move on to the b's. I have 1 b here, 3 b's here, so b times b times b times b. So that gets me b to the 4th. All right, I have c to the 1/3. Well, let's go back to my rules here. All I really did is add these together. So c to the 1/3 plus c, or not plus, times c to the 2/3. So I'm going to take 1/3 and I'm going to add the 2/3. That's going to get me 3/3, which is 1. So that means I have c. Okay, we're going to go more into fraction exponents in another video. This is just kind of some of the basics. Okay, So number 4, now we're dividing. So this is just normal dividing. When I see these numbers here, there's no exponents. I'm just doing normal dividing. Okay, so that's going to turn into a 1. That's going to turn into a 2. 2/4 is the same thing as 1/2. All right, maybe I'll do my work kind of over here. So I'm going to say, okay, that turns into 1/2. Now I'm done with that. So I have 2 A's on top, 1 A on the bottom, 5 B's, 2 B's, a C, and a C. Okay, so let's see what I can cancel out. I can cancel out an A, I can cancel out 2 B's, and I can cancel out a C. So my answer, now I don't have to write this 1 on top unless everything is wiped out. If I had like all the A's canceled out, all the B's on top canceled out, all the C's canceled out on top, then I would have to put a 1 there. But since I still have an A, I still have some B's, I don't actually have to put that 1. No one's gonna mark that wrong. It's just, it is gonna look a little babyish though. Okay, so my answer here is gonna be A, and I have B cubed over 2, and everything on the denominator canceled out. So that's my answer. Now, if you were to just to do this the shortcut way, you would say, okay, that turns into 1/2. So you'd have your 1 there, and then you'd probably get rid of it later on. You would subtract 2 minus 1 is 1. Remember, you don't need to have the 1 if your exponent is 1. 5 minus 2 is 3, and 1 minus 1 is 0, so that cancels right out. Okay. Oh, I kind of did a division. What was I thinking here? Okay, division and a multiplication. Totally fine. All right, so once again, if I get confused with these, I just draw it out. All right, let's look at the numerator. Remember, this is the same thing as over 1. When I multiply fractions, I go straight across like this. There's a few different ways you can do this, but this is how I'm going to choose to do this one. So my numerator, 6 times 2 is 12. All right, if I'm just looking at top, I'm totally ignoring this 18x for right now. I don't have any y's, x's over here, and I have 1 x over here. So when I multiply that, I just have an x. 3 y's and a y. So this is y to the 4th. And then on the denominator is my 18x, because when I multiply that by 1, I just get 18x. Okay, so now let's simplify it this way. Put my equal sign. Let me deal with 12 over 18. Well, 6 goes into both, right? 6, 1, 6, 12, 18. So that's going to be 2/3. And now I've dealt with that. I don't have to deal with that. I can't simplify it. There's no 1s. Okay, I have an x on top and an x on the bottom, so that cancels out. I have y to the 4th on top, and I don't have any y's on the bottom. So y to the 4th. And that would be my answer. Okay, last one. Ooh, I might need to use this paper, actually. Okay, so this looks really messy. Let's see what we do here. Okay, so 2 and 20, I'm just going to simplify that to 1/10. The only reason I'm writing on this paper, I know some of my other students were like, I don't like when you write on other paper. I don't know why. So it's just because I don't have room. So this is going to turn into 1/10. All right, x to the half. So I remember when it's a fraction like this, I basically subtract. That's my shortcut. So I have a half minus a half. And look, those are the same exact thing. So I know they're going to cancel right out. Now I have y to the 2/3 minus y to the, y to the 2/3 divided by y to the 1/3. So I subtract these exponents. So 2/3 minus 1/3 is 1/3. So 1y to the 1/3. Now I know that this 1 on top looks a little babyish, so I'm just going to get rid of it. Y to the 1/3 over 10. Like I said, later on, we're going to do a little bit more with these fraction exponents. This is just a basic video to remind you how to deal with multiplying and dividing variables with exponents. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.